All right, the inaugural fantasy chat line for our league. We're gonna have to work on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
We have early league favorites and the matchup of the week. I know we were talking a little bit about it before. It seems like we were kind of on the same page about the top teams. I think Eli, aka Team Donkey Teeth, is a pretty good team. He's leaning pretty heavy into the Falcons, but Gurley, Julio, Ridley, I like them all pretty good. Gurley obviously has like potential health concerns. He's still in a great offense. He's the RB1. It doesn't seem like he's going to be needing to do like too much heavy lifting because they have all these pieces around him. He's not necessarily going to be the focal point. I feel like that's still Julio in the pass game. Usually, Julio doesn't usually score that many TDs though, so maybe that could end up, kind of like working for each other.
I'd agree. Gurley had like 16 TDs last year, but they treat him like trash.
Yeah, he got cut, and I still think he could score at least double-digit TDs, especially with Julio seemingly, not gobbling up too many TDs. Same with Ridley. He also has James White, which I think could be a pretty good sleeper this year. Belichick obviously trusts him, which Belichick usually never trusts any running backs, but he's been there for a while. Now he's tied to Cam Newton, who recently has had pretty good pass catching back with McCaffrey, so maybe they can resurrect some of that. Also has Mahomes, Waller, Mims, and Rieger have potential. I think Team Donkey Teeth wins quite a few games this year.
I would agree, actually. Like you said, we agreed on them, and I had him written down for some of my teams, but I had some other teams that you didn't write down, and one of them was Mike and Tanner, who have Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, and Drake all together. So they're kind of thin at receiver. I believe they have Jarvis Landry and OBJ.
Yep.
And Alan Lazard is their third guy. So that depth at receiver is definitely hurtful, especially when you can start 4 each week.
Yeah, in the double flex league, that kind of concerns me, especially if the Browns are maybe going to go a little more run heavy this year. If you have a game where they're just riding Nick Chubb, maybe they have some success, they're up. They just signed Kareem Hunt to a long-term deal too. What do you get, like 2 years, I believe? Is that correct?
Yeah, he just got an extra 2 for after this. So
yeah, I don't know too much about. I don't know too much about Stefanski, but it seems like he likes to run the ball. They also just got Austin Hooper, who missed some time last year, but also caught 75 catches in the 13 games he did play. So there are definitely going to be some games where those running backs just kind of take over for them and win them the league or win them the game. But I feel like there could be some weeks that those receivers kind of let them down.
Yeah, you figure one of them might be letting them down each week. It's going to be tough for them to consistently hit each week.
But if you have McCaffrey scoring an ungodly amount of points, another solid running backs could work out.
And I think Drake could be a top 5 running back if he stays healthy all year.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that with his catching ability, he definitely could, be a top 10 back. Top 5 might be a hot take, but
I believe I wrote it down here. Let's see. Through weeks 9 to 17 last year, these 3 running backs were number 1, which was McCaffrey, who averaged almost 25 points per game, and this is half-point PPR. Drake was number 4, with averaging 18.8 points per game through that time period. And then Aaron Jones was number 8, which was almost 16 points. He could be kind of boomer bust, but love me some Aaron Jones.
Yeah, you figure there's definitely going to be some touchdown regression there, but I mean, who else do they have? They have Devontae Adams and, not much else in the way of offensive weapons. So I feel like they're definitely going to have to rely on Jones quite a bit this year. Yeah, I could definitely see them. And with McCaffrey too, he was playing a lot of the year with Kyle Allen, I believe it was.
Yep.
And obviously, defenses have to key in on McCaffrey if they're going to be starting a scrub quarterback. So you figure I am biased. Louisville Cardinal, Teddy Bridgewater, I think gives them a huge
Teddy
boost.
Bridgewater throws hell of a dump ball, so.
Oh yeah, Teddy Two Gloves is going to be big upgrade for them.
Who's your next team then?
Now my next team is going to be myself, Team Adia's Army. So Watson manning the QB slot. I feel like my tight end is covered, but admittedly, I think it's going to present a bit of a challenge. I've been hearing a lot about the Bears QB situation. If you have 2 QBs, you have 0 QBs. So I feel like I could kind of be in the same situation with my tight ends. I have Higbee. I have Hunter Henry. It's pretty good, but there are going to be weeks where I'm just kicking myself because I picked the wrong one. I feel like my 2020 success really hinges on my running back play. I have Eckler in place. I think he's a stud. I love Eckler. But behind that, you have Dobbins, Taylor, Gibson. I might have lucked out with Gibson, but at the same time, who knows what these guys' usage will be this year. You still have Marlon Mack around. You have, I think Gus Edwards is still on the team with the Ravens. He had 700 yards last year, and then obviously Lamar and Mark Ingram, tons of running production. So it'll be interesting to kind of monitor that. I do have some depth though: Tariq Cohen, Duke Johnson, Marlon Mack. I feel pretty comfortable with Amari and Scary Terry and Woods at wideout. I still have Pittman in the oven, but my depth could potentially hurt me. If I lose one of those wide receivers and Pittman's not ready.
I would say you're one of the more deep teams in the league, even if receivers at the deepest, because you figure if you have the extra flex spot, then you could play Henry and Higbee, who I like a lot.
Yeah, that's what's nice. I have some flexibility, I guess, which is a good thing. You always want depth in a 2-flex league, but at the same time, there's so many options. It's going to be tough just picking the right one each week.
I feel like by the sort of end of the season, Dobbins and Taylor will be playing their best football too. They'll probably be really popping off then, so you could be deadly playoff time. And I assume your team will make it there.
I certainly hope so.
All right, so my next team is Herm. I kind of actually thought his draft was shitty at first. I remember thinking, or maybe not quite shitty, but I remember thinking not
nothing to write home about.
Yeah, maybe it's like Zach Ertz. Something about Zach Ertz I don't like. But anyways, even though he's good. But I think if David Johnson perhaps returns to elite level, there is a chance Herm could see his way to glory. Earlier on, when I first thought about David Johnson, I wasn't too sure, but I think there's a chance there. They traded Hopkins and a lot for him, so they're going to want to use him. Otherwise, Bill O'Brien looks like a damn fool. He has Philip Lindsay in his backfield, which is, I think, perhaps the running back to own in Denver right now. I don't believe in Melvin Gordon that much personally. Then he has Edelman, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, and Michael Thomas. And he can start all 4 each week, so that's a pretty deadly combo right there. Those are pretty much all top 20 receivers. Certainly. So it almost matches up to what I'm rolling out there each week, especially when you factor in Michael Thomas. Then he has Cole Beasley and Alshon Jeffrey as depth behind them, which is pretty good, especially for this league, at the way some people are looking at some positions. And then he has Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan at QB, so that is obviously good. Those will be 2 top 10 QBs, you'd assume. I feel like Matt Ryan could sneak up the ranks a little this year. He's kind of hot and cold each year. It seems like one year he's falling out, then the next year he's falls down to 15 or something. And then he has Zach Ertz and Jared Cook at tight end, so he's pretty set there.
Certainly.
Jared Cook, for some reason, I don't know where all the hype came from. I feel like he didn't do that great, but
I believe he had 700 yards last year. I was kind of surprised when I saw that, but he's definitely older. He's not a very sexy name at all, but tied to Drew Brees, good offense. as a backup, definitely, I think it gives some good depth. You would have to think that the Texans are going to give David Johnson, barring an injury, as much work as they possibly could. He may end up looking more like the David Johnson of old, or maybe like Le'Veon Bell last year. But uh, regardless, if you're trading him, and I don't feel this way, but obviously Bill O'Brien does. If he sees him, worthy of being in a trade for, uh, DeAndre Hopkins, then you would have to think that he at least has a plan for him.
Yeah, I agree. He's in up to his eyeballs.
He certainly is. He's going to look like a absolute fool if it doesn't work out. The last team I had is Jacob Manning's team. I really like this team. His QB situation may shake out, but it's kind of similar to my tight end situation where he may pick the wrong starter week to week, and that could end up kind of haunting him throughout the year, especially if Tyrod Taylor ends up uh, rebounding. I've seen a lot of reports maybe expecting Herbert not to play at all this year. Uh, I don't know if you watch Hard Knocks, but it seems like even on that, admittedly, Herbert's been struggling a little bit picking up the offense. So, Tyrod Taylor had some decent output when he was with the Bills, enough to, you know, give you some headaches, I guess, if you were to pick the wrong QB week to week. He has Rivers, Tannehill, and Taylor, but he's a starter for now. Who knows how long that'll last. At running back, he has Zeke and Clyde Edwards-Helaire locked in, which I really like. I think that'll be huge for his team. He's got to be hoping that Breda and Chris Thompson give him some value too. I think Breda's more likely with how fragile Chris Thompson is, but I think the 3 games that Chris Thompson's healthy for, he may give some flex numbers. So, wide receiver, he has Tyreek Hill, who honestly may go for like 2,000 yards this year. 2 great bounce back candidates with Thielen and Juju. Renfro could have some sneaky value. He has Chris Herndon at tight end, who's just been getting more and more hype recently. I could see him being a top team, kind of carried by his studs, but depth may be lacking slightly.
Yeah, I had written him down as well for all the same reasons. I think he will make it to the playoffs, but it'll be tougher once he gets there. And if he loses somebody, he will definitely be hobbling a bit. My last team I put was myself. I don't really fully feel the same as I did before after Leonard Fournette got traded to Tampa. I feel like Ronald Jones will still eat a good bit of that backfield up. So I don't know how much production to expect from Leonard each week. They do seem to really be invested in Ronald Jones, and I saw he's been doing even better this week after they signed Fournette, so he's pretty motivated right now. But I do have Keenan Allen, DJ Chark, Chris Godwin, Marvin Jones, Devontae Parker, and Allen Robinson. So that's 6 receivers there, and we can start 4. So even if I lose somebody, I should be okay to keep going. And then I'll have people to swap in nicely for buys. And then I got Hayden Hurst and George Kittle, who I think Kittle will obviously be top 3 tight end if he stays healthy. And then Hayden Hurst, I think we'll see similar production to what Austin Hooper put up last year, but maybe not quite the full amount, but I think it'll be in the ballpark, so he should be in the top 5 area as well, I think. And then running back is obviously a huge weakness for me because I have Leonard, Kareem Hunt, and then I have Raquel Armstead, who's just apparently garbage, wasted $9 on covering my ass with him, and then he became worthless, and he's just on the COVID list. If Zeke got hurt somehow, then my stock would rise quite a bit with Tony Pollard in the backfield. But as of now, with my running back situation, it's going to be hard to go the full distance. But outside of that, I'm pretty well-rounded. Oh, and I have Kyler Murray at the helm, so feeling good there.
I like your team quite a bit. You're always going to have the upgrade on your opponent as far as tight end goes, plus the flexes too. You have some high-flying receivers. So I think that, with Kareem Hunt, obviously he didn't do, a bad job last year. I think he ended with, down the stretch, some RB2 numbers at least. Obviously Stefanski just signed him to that extension, so they wouldn't have done that if they didn't like him and have a plan for him. Obviously, he might not be the workhorse that he was, but at worst, I think that those numbers you saw last year down the stretch will be, at least what to expect. Fournette is going to be tough. Who knows kind of what that whole offense will be looking like. Even with the receivers, you see that O.J. Howard and Gronk are listed as co-starters. And, they have a ton of running backs. They got Keyshawn Vaughn in the third round, and then they added McCoy and Fournette after that. And they've been saying that they like Rojo quite a bit. So I think that the key to your team is going to be Kyler Murray. And if he takes a big step forward, like in the same sense that Lamar Mahomes did, if he's able to be scoring like 20 points a game, then that elevates your team quite a bit.
Got the weapons there.
Now, for the matchup of the week, I have two right now. My first one is going to be Team Donkey Teeth, Eli, versus Straight Cash Homie, which is Schilling. And I touched on Eli's team already. Schilling has the other pride of Louisville, Lamar Jackson, manning the helm, as well as Derrick Henry. He is a Browns fan, so he went all in on Nick Chubb as well. DK Metcalf can put up quite a few points as well. He had a great rookie season. It'll be fun to monitor that one and see if Schilling studs will be able to overcome what I think is one of the top teams in the league.
Yeah, I do like Schilling's team a lot too. DK Metcalf, for some reason, I was like in love with him at the end of last year. Then just like for some reason, I cooled off on him. I think he'll be good, but he'll be like inconsistent this year. But he really came out like last year. They made it seem like he'd be quite the project at receiver, and then he was balling out. So maybe he'll just continue to leap.
I believe he had like, if I'm remembering correctly, I think he had like 55 catches, like 800 yards. I think he had 7 touchdowns. I always think that rookie receivers will take a big step forward in their second year. And I don't know if you've seen any of those workout videos with him and Russell Wilson, but he looks like Julio.
Julio.
He's big, he's fast. He's not going to get the same type of targets, but and everyone kind of diminishes just their offense in general. I think Russell Wilson is, a top QB in the league. I think that, they were having some good production. They had, Doug Baldwin, who is always a good fantasy provider, and I think with some of the questions they have at running back too, I think that they may be giving, Wilson potentially some more, work through the air. They did sign Greg Olsen, so, he is kind of older, but, maybe he takes up some of that underneath coverage, and maybe that lets, DK get some more one-on-ones down the field.
I saw today DK was in the top 3 of red zone targets, so those are obviously huge. So if he improves there just by a little and still has the same area of targets, then he'll probably get a few more touchdowns at least. Maybe get close to that 10 mark.
Definitely. The other matchup of the week that I put down was being a little selfish again. Myself versus Snowstorm. Obviously, 2 pretty competitive owners. I know whichever one that loses between us is going to have a pretty sour taste in their mouth. It's also tough when you expect to be, a pretty solid team and you start out 0-1. So,
I was going to pick that game just for sheer rivalry's sake, but I don't know if his team's ready to compete right now. He might just get steamrolled this week. We'll have to see. He's very deep, obviously, because he's got so many players, 35 players compared to most people who are just squeaking by at the 18 mark.
I think he may have over double the players some of the other teams do. So, even though he may not look, like a contender right now, you figure even, he has a lot of lottery tickets there.
He does indeed. Hopefully, not for us. I don't know. But for him, hopefully they'll hit on the right contract, because it'll kind of suck if they pop and then it's I got to extend them right away for big bucks. But we'll see what happens here for him.
That is true, but you have to figure, Madison, he's 19. Obviously if Cook moves on next year, you can just kind of, have his rights and kind of see what happens with them. But he also has Curtis Samuel at $20. He has Paris Campbell at 13. So there's at least some flexibility. He has cap coming off the books to at least be able to pick the right guy.
I too went with a little bit of a selfish choice here, and chose my game for the game of the week against Casey Greggs, who has a team. He's got a team there, but I don't know how I feel about his RB2 and 3, who are Melvin Gordon and Le'Veon Bell. Both of them kind of just feel like past their years for me, especially with Bell being in the Jets offense with Adam Gase running things, who's apparently giving Frank Gore 40% of the running back snaps in camp right now, and it's hard to believe in him. Trying to think, I didn't write down who he has as the RB1. Remember who Casey's RB1 is, perchance?
Let's take a look. He's been talking quite a bit of smack recently, so I hope for his sake that this is a strong name. But it looks like Joe Mixon. He just recently got a deal. He has a new stud quarterback. I could see that working out. So he lucked out there. But and you have to wonder with Gase and everything, all these Frank Gore rumors. You have to wonder if that means that they're potentially uncomfortable with their receivers. They have Crowder, who seems like he's pretty solid in the slot. They just drafted Denzel Mims. They signed Brashad Perriman, but you have to wonder if Gore is lining up in the backfield, if that means that Le'Veon's going to be split out wide, or kind of what the plan with him is.
Yeah, he should be. You would hope he is, considering what they have at receiver.
You'd certainly hope, but
catching running back. So
Gase is always a head scratcher. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, Casey also has Daniel Jones, who I think will have a good year, but he's Matthew Berry's ride or die. So that's
like
a scary.
It's like the Madden curse.
Yeah, I don't. He's got Marquise Brown, AJ Brown, and Brandon Cooks at receiver, who I think could be a solid little group. It's kind of a sneaky receiver group for the year, maybe. I think Marquise Brown will have a good year. And I sent you that thing yesterday about how he was beefing up 25 pounds.
Definitely.
He had like 4 protein shakes a day or some shit. And AJ Brown, it's hard to believe in Tannehill making someone a stud for me. But if he makes a leap this year, he should be at least a top 20 receiver. And then Brandon Cooks, he's kind of fallen off the radar for everyone after one bad year. Before that, he had all 1,000-yard seasons. So I think if he can stay healthy, he can bounce back to be one of the better receivers this year. And then he's got Travis Kelce at tight end. So probably don't get any better than that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think A.J. Brown is obviously their number one receiver. I think Corey Davis's days are done in Tennessee, at least. If he's going to revive things, I think he needs a change of scenery. But yeah, I definitely think his wide receivers have a lot of room to grow, and could definitely shape up to be one of the better groups in the league. Besides yourself, of course.